Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a review of WandaVision episode 5 on this very special episode. This episode was released on Disney Plus on February 5th, 2021. It stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda and Paul Bettany as Vision. Before I get into this episode, I want to say that there will be spoilers in this episode, so if you have not watched it or care about spoilers, then definitely click off now. So let's get into what this episode is about. So we start off with back into the sitcom world, and we have Wanda trying to put her children to sleep. And Agnes comes over and she tries to put them to sleep, and then we hear them stop crying. And when Wanda turns around, she notices that the baby twins are now toddlers. And then we get our classic sitcom intro. The sitcom in this episode is a play on the Family Ties sitcom. This is one that I'm not super familiar with. I don't think I've ever seen a single episode of Family Ties, so I can't attest to how accurate this is, but that's what I've been seeing people say that is online. And after this intro, we then go into the outside world, and we're following Monica Rambeau and Darcy and Jimmy Woo. And Monica Rambeau is in like an infirmary area, and all of her tests that they have done are not coming back conclusive. Like, the tests just are not there. So that's a very odd thing to happen. And then she's like, we're done. We're not going to do any more tests right now. And they go into a briefing area, and so they're all getting briefed on what is going on. Since Monica Rambeau is inside the hex, then she kind of has insider knowledge, but she doesn't really remember anything from inside the hex, other than the stuff that is being shown to the outside world through the sitcom lens. So we find out during this briefing that there are thousands of people that are being held hostage in this world. We also find out that 9 days prior to this episode, Wanda had broken in and had stolen Vision's body and brought it to New Jersey to have this fantasy play out. And so then we get put back into the sitcom world, and there Wanda and the children are just hanging out, and they find a dog. And this is really interesting and comes back later into the sitcom episode, because the dog gets out and we find out that Agnes has found the dog, and the dog has died because she claims that the dog was found eating azalea leaves. And so I guess azalea leaves are poisonous for dogs, so the dog had died. We don't know if that is actually truth, but it does bring up a interesting thing where the twins are like, well, you can bring things back to life. Bring it back to life, Mom. And Wanda's like, I can't bring things back to life. So we find out that she can't actually bring things back to life. So that has major implications for the Vision thing. So Vision isn't real, isn't alive. So that's a really interesting aspect of this episode. And we need to find out more. There's more questions about what exactly is being done to Vision to bring him back. So we find out that Monica Rambeau wants to put something that doesn't need to be changed in there. So they figure out what time frame this is from, which the sitcom is from the 80s. So they get an 80s drone and fly into the hex. And this is where things get, I had my jaw dropped because I was like, oh my god. They realize there's a disturbance on the edge of the hex, and everyone goes out and they all have their guns pointed towards it, and Wanda comes out of the hex with the drone and says basically, don't ruin what I have made here. And that was a crazy thing to happen. We also have Vision, who is now finding out a lot more things about what is going on. So there's a scene where he's at work, And they have just got new computers because it's the 80s, computers are all new. And when they turn on the computer, there's an email from Sword to Darcy, and it's saying stuff about Wanda and the Hex, and he's like, what is going on? And he turns the computer off with his powers, and then he also is able to turn off his boss, who then realizes that he's basically a prisoner that has been kidnapped and is being held hostage in this world. Then Vision starts to really start questioning the things that are going on and even questioning Wanda. And the final spoiler for this episode, which is what happens at the end, where Wanda and Vision are kind of arguing, and then someone knocks on the door. Wanda opens it, and it's none other than Evan Peters playing Pietro, which we're not 100% sure whether or not this is actually what is happening, but right now he is playing Pietro, which is very bizarre because he played Pietro in the Fox movies. So it's very weird that they didn't bring back Aaron Taylor-Johnson from the MCU version of Pietro, and they brought back the Fox thing. But I think that there's definitely more to it. There were a lot of rumors revolving around Evan Peters and who he was playing, so I don't think that that's the entire story. So let's get into what I liked and didn't like, which I'll just leave it pretty brief because I overall really liked this show. I really liked this episode. Some of the key things that I really liked were the break that happens at the very beginning of this episode, where there is a break with Agnes and Wanda and Vision, and every time there's a break within the sitcom world into like a reality-based world, I just love it because it's just so good. It's like, it really makes you feel things, and I just love that. I also really just love the sitcom intros. It's so wholesome and so sweet, and I don't know, it just really makes you want to be happy for Wanda, and she has this happy life, but it's all going to come crashing down, and that's what makes it so sad. As for the one real thing that I didn't like in this episode was there was some pretty uneven acting from the toddlers, and I hate to talk bad about children actors or anything like that, but it was pretty clear that it was basically just like line readings, so that was disappointing, but I mean, what are you gonna do? But other than that, I just really enjoy this show, and I definitely want to hear from you in the comments down below what your opinions on this episode were, what your theories are for the show. We've got 4 more episodes, so I can't wait to see what happens next. So remember, if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscription box down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye.